you want to add realism to your wargaming table? Let's take a look at one way we can use magnets to make these modular chain link fences. Underneath my gaming mat, I've started experimenting with pieces of sheet metal. You know, the kind you use for ductwork. You can get it from hardware stores. Magnets tend to stick really well to this. In fact, the mat is thin enough to where you can still get some magnetism through it. Each piece of fencing has 4 magnets on all corners. I'll link the kind I used in the description. Not having to worry about a base for my chain link fences lets me use them in any combination I can dream of. I can even stack them to make extra tall fences, or combine them into walkways. The possibilities are endless. Let's talk about how to build them. The main components are BBQ sticks and drywall mesh tape. To make the frame, I lay out my BBQ skewers on my cutting board. I chose to do mine as a 2" by 3" segment. That's roughly 5 by 8 centimeters. Using the guides on my cutting board makes this pretty easy. Next, I cut out enough pieces to make 8 fences with a pair of tin snips. These will cut through anything. If you don't have a pair, I highly recommend getting them for crafting. They put scissors to shame. To glue these together, the best way I found was to use a sheet of parchment paper to lay the sticks flat while hot gluing them. The parchment paper will let you peel the glued up frame very easily. Taking the drywall mesh tape, I want the pattern to go diagonally, so I cut 2 strips for each fence, joining them in the middle as best I can. Other materials that can be used here are sculptor's mesh or stitching mesh or granny grating. It might be a bit too thick for the application, but give it a try. The mesh tape itself has an adhesive side, but to make it really stick, I'm using some PVA glue and painting it on with a brush. I'm careful not to get too thick on the inside edge of the fence, but I can be as sloppy as I want on the outside, as that will get trimmed off when it dries. I left all the fences out overnight to dry and then quickly trimmed off the overhang. You can do this with scissors, as the mesh tape is quite easy to cut. This part is by far the trickiest step of the build. The magnets, and the woes of polarity. I wanted the fences to link up side to side as well as top to bottom. For that to work, I need to have opposite polarity on each side, and all the fences need to be done the same way, or else one would not link up properly. The easiest way I found to do this is to set yourself up with a reference magnet, preferably glued onto a static object so you don't mess it up, such as this pill bottle. And then do one test piece to see how it works. Take one magnet and place it face down, same orientation as it was on the pill bottle. Apply a little bit of hot glue to the corner and then just press it down on the magnet. To get the bottom of the fence to stick to other fences, it must link up with a magnet of the same orientation but glued on top. TLDR, if the magnet's being pushed away, just flip it over and glue it the same as the first one. We're going to repeat this process again for the magnets on the left side of the fence, except for this time, we want the magnet to attract before gluing it in place. Hot gluing the magnets won't make for a very strong bond, so you might have some of them fall out as they magnetize to each other. To counteract this, I used a bit of superglue on each corner and let it set fully before testing. For the paint job, I stuck these to an L bracket since they're magnetic and primed them in the garage. I then came in with a black base coat and dry brushed some silver acrylic paint on top. I did another light coat of copper, just grazing parts of the mesh, and then came in with a sponge to dab on some orange specks, hinting at some rust. I wanted to try tearing or cutting some of the mesh and see what that would look like. Maybe give it a little bit more of a torn or ripped look. I wanted most of them to be in good condition, so I only did this to a couple of them. Let me know in the comments if you like how these tears look. Take a look up here if you're interested in more of my builds, and subscribe if you want more of my future videos recommended to you. See you later.